welcome to the next episode of the SquareUp podcast, where we help you give your brand a fighting chance. We are doing a series where I am interviewing some amazing boss women that I know personally and some that I have just had the pleasure of getting to know through social media. But today I have one of my closest friends in the whole world, so I'm excited to have her on my show, Miss Jennifer Lucy Tyler. Hey, girl.
Hey, I'm so happy you're finally doing this podcast. It's just going to be so dope. I know it is.
And so I am excited to talk to you because, I know your story. We know that. But I know, because I know your story, I know there are so many other women who will benefit from your journey. And we're going to start just talking about where you are now, but I can't wait to get into like the journey to get here. So Jennifer is in DC, born and raised, like a real DC person. She didn't move there. She got older. They real serious about that up there. So
very serious. Okay.
Very serious. And I kind of feel that kind of way too. Like I'm here at the beach and people like, I'm from the coast. You ain't from the coast, y'all. Your family moved y'all down here. But anyway, and she just has such a great heart for women, a heart for ministry, a heart for being an advocate for human trafficking. So I want you to just kind of tell people just a little synopsis of kind of what you do now.
Okay, well, I wear a lot of hats. As Ashley said, my name is Jennifer Lucy Tyler. I'm born and raised in DC. We always say, you flew here, I grew here, that's like a big thing when you're a native Washingtonian, but that has shaped a lot of my experiences and what I do. Being exposed in this environment in DC is very pretentious. Sometimes it can be very just focused on all the wrong things. We live in the land of, we're down the street from the White House. We are by the Capitol. It's a lot of moving and a lot of shaking going on. But in the midst of that, there's a lot of loss. There's a lot of people who are empty on the inside. And I was one of those people that experienced that emptiness in my quest to just try to be better and to be a go-getter. Just experienced a lot of emptiness in my life, which influences who I am today. I am a Bible teacher. I'm a storyteller. I'm a ambassador for International Justice Mission. I have to get used to saying that because that's something that's new. And I'm excited about that. But I'm also an author and speaker as well, and entrepreneur. I can't forget that because, I have a whole business that I'm running as well.
How do you even remember what all you do? You need to just start carrying like a flashcard around, like, so and be like, what do you do? Well, like, or your business card should be like a cube instead of flat. So
it seems like a lot, but it doesn't feel like a lot because it all intertwines and works together.
So what is it? Okay, I like that you said that. So you're wearing a lot of hats, doing a lot of things, but you said it doesn't feel heavy on you really, because one, I feel like it's because it's something you enjoy.
Yes.
Things you enjoy, but how are you managing to incorporate all the different aspects of who you are and what you love into a business? Businesses,
yes. So when I just did my introduction earlier and I talked about how growing up in DC, how it fueled a lot of my passion, and growing up being far from what I see as being far from God, and really just having him come into my life and change my life and really give me an identity, but also a purpose. And that purpose is to serve others for the good of others and for the glory of God, introduce people to him in all aspects of what I do. So that influences my work, leading a consulting firm, Mission Consulting Hub, which our whole idea is to serve the servant leader. And so it also influences ministry, bringing women together to simply gather to study the scriptures, to know God, and knowing who God is, knowing more about him, they know more about themselves. And so they're able to better carry out the things that God has called them to. So I just see that as working together, because the foundation is out of a love and a heart and a passion to have people to know God deeper and to be able to see him, even in the people that we serve in our consulting firm.
Okay, so I love that tagline, that mission of serving the servant leader. What does that look like?
Serving the servant leader looks like being so if you may not be familiar with this, I'm not gonna assume that everyone knows the story of Moses and Aaron.
Let's just break it down then. So that we understand.
So we know that, well, I'm not gonna say we know that. Moses was called to free people out of bondage, and that people group was the Israelites. They were in bondage and slavery in Egypt. However, he could not do that without Aaron. Aaron was the guy who was his mouthpiece. Moses struggled with some things. Aaron helped. He essentially, the way that I like to explain it, Aaron, he lifted up Moses's hands so that Moses could do what it is that he was called to do. And we don't hear about Aaron a lot. We don't get movies about Aaron. But Aaron was the servant leader as well, helping to serve this servant leader. And that is what our organization does. We lead by serving other servant leaders. And sometimes when you are a leader, you don't even realize how much you need other servant leaders alongside you. So lifting up your hands so that you can do the things that you're called to do. And so practically how we do it is through our copywriting, social media management, and virtual assistants, and graphic and web design.
Okay. Now, so like, I like how that sounds. I like the beauty in that. I like the raw, like, this is our mission and the upfrontness about it. Like, this is what we are here to do. We're providing these services, but this is the mission. And I'm honored to, serve with you guys, with the vision that you had with Mission Consultant. I remember when it just popped in your head and you were like, you know what? I could do this, and we should do this, or I'm going to do this. And then it turned into like, and Jennifer's the type of person, literally, when I talk about when it popped in her head from the day of execution, we like a 3-day time span. It went from a text message to a FaceTime to a website until like 3 days after that, it was a client. So that's kind of how God always moves in her life that I've seen. But I now want to go back, because to have the boldness that I love, to have a business so outwardly rooted in your faith and in the strong faith of others. How did we get here? So we have Jennifer today in 2021. Let's go back, Jennifer, like 20 years ago. Like, how did we get here? She's like, ooh, 20 years. Wait a minute.
Oh
Maybe
my goodness.
Let's do 10, but no, 20. Come on.
No, let's do 20. I mean, gosh, how did we get here? Well,
I'll put it this way to narrow it down. So earlier you said, that DC does have a lot of people who are in that lost and broken state. So when you were in that state, now we're their journey from there to here. Go back to that moment where you're like, I'm broken. Something's missing. How did you even come to that conclusion?
Okay, so I do have to go back about 20 years. So I'm glad you said that. During that time, I was not a Christian, wasn't deeply rooted in my faith. And I was working hard, but just kind of unfulfilled and aimlessly working. And really, when I say aimlessly, I didn't have a purpose with it, didn't have a trajectory. My purpose was just to make money. And so I remember losing my best friend, and people who know me know the story. I lost my best friend suddenly due to gun violence in DC in 2004, actually September 2004. And it was during that time where nothing would bring me fulfillment or peace or solace, but being in church or being in the presence of God. And so from that, God used one of the most painful moments of my life to draw me to him, to where people begin to call me like, what is going on with you? Like, I just became like this Jesus freak. But I threw myself into studying the Bible, threw myself into serving his people. And that was my therapy at the time. I didn't go to therapy back then, but that was my therapy at the time, immersing myself into healthy community. And that was what really saved me. And from that point on, once I threw myself into the things of God, I began to learn who I was and learn my identity and learn the things that made Jennifer tick. So I had to do a lot of unlearning. I was unlearning what culture basically influenced within me. And I needed to relearn, who is this woman that God created and what is my purpose here on earth? And I started finding out that even in my working various jobs and 9-to-5s, the things that I really loved about them and that I could take from them and that I wanted to see myself doing on a long-term, life-term basis. And so that's kind of the steps of how I got there, because I remember I was working various jobs. For example, I did some ministry coordination for Volunteers of America. Mm-hmm. And there were things that I was asked to do in that particular role, like organize Bible studies and things of that nature. And that was about over 10 years ago. Yeah. I was doing that. And I realized, okay, I enjoy that. I enjoy gathering people together to study the Bible. I enjoy this. I remember we took a group of our Volunteers of America ministers, because it's a faith-based organization. We took them to Duke Divinity and they got leadership training and things of that nature. So I was exposed to all of that and really started realizing how much I enjoyed it. And then I worked for a nonprofit in the city and we were doing things in the community. So I learned how to be an effective servant leader. And I learned about outreach. And there were so many aspects of my journey that at the time I didn't realize that God was using to shape the Jennifer that you see today. And it began to shape my passions. It shaped my desires. And what you see today, the fruit of who you're seeing today, it's all of those moments, those different jobs that I thought at one point, like, why am I here? Like, God used every step.
Okay, so one thing you said was the more you started pressing into God and who he is, you started learning more about who you are. And I think sometimes culture tells us that when people get really heavy into Christianity, they start becoming this clone drone of who everyone else is or who they're supposed to be, and that they lose themselves. And you're saying the complete opposite. I know I feel the opposite, but you're saying the opposite, that the more you pressed into God, you really stopped being a clone and started being more of yourself. And that has now helped you have a business that's its own. What you say, girl?
Okay, absolutely. I was such a clone before Christ. I was, what was popular in culture, that was just what I was following and what I was going after. And so it's actually more countercultural to follow Christ, and then to learn who you are, the things that you love and who he has created you to be, and to be comfortable in that.
And how do you feel that now has transitioned into you as a businesswoman? Because I was about to say in your own business, but you have just your hands in so much. So how do you feel that awareness of who you are and how you're rooted in your faith has directly affected you as a businesswoman in the way that you approach business?
With integrity, and not selling out. I think that I think that there are a lot of things and a lot of different opportunities sometimes that are brought to my door that may not be in line with with what my values are. And I don't look at it as just a check. I look at it as, if it's not aligned fully aligned with who I am and my values, even when it comes to being an influencer, so to speak. I think I remember telling you I had gotten a request to share a certain item or product. And I was like, imagine that. Like, and it happens every week. Like, I can't share everything just for a check, right?
Yeah.
Because of who I am and my values. And so that's how it's shaped what I do as a businesswoman. It also influences how I serve people, right? Because I believe that God is a God of excellence and a God of order. And so if I'm to reflect his image, then I need to be a woman of excellence and a woman of order. And that doesn't mean that I'm a woman of perfection. That means that, you know, when you are striving for excellence, it doesn't mean that you're perfect, but it means that you're working to produce and to serve people with excellence, because we are serving as unto the Lord, and not just, I'm not just serving this person, you know, it's as unto the Lord. And so I want people to look at us and see God, and to know, wow, this experience, this encounter that I've had with Jennifer Lucy Tyler was way different than any other encounter that I ever had. And ultimately I could point it back to Christ.
And you know, excellence was my word for the year. Like,
Well, that's right.
That was my word. Excellence is my word for the year. And at the beginning of it, I'm looking at my power sheets right now. And if you're not familiar with power sheets, they're by Laura Casey. I'll put a link in the description. We love power sheets. I just ordered my new 2022. They came out yesterday.
Yeah, I got them.
Good.
Yeah.
There we go. But my quote at the top of my power sheets always says, I have everything that I need to execute with excellence. So that's my reminder throughout the month, is I already have everything I need to execute with excellence. So if I'm sitting there feeling like I need this or I need that, I'm like, nope, I already have what I need. Anything else is just extra. Yeah. And I think also, like you're saying, making sure that things are in alignment with your passion, with your purpose, and God's will for your life. And not all money is good money. So are you saying you're really walking away from checks? Because that's just unheard of in the grind mentality of this day and age. Like, if the check is coming, you take it, and Are you turning down money?
And the thing is, I have turned down money, but it's all good, because God, whatever you give up for him, I mean, y'all, come on. Can I get a witness on here?
Hello.
Like, whatever you give up for him, he always replaces. He always replaces. And when he replaces, and what he gives you, it's so much better.
I remember while we were in Cape Town, and both of us literally made it to Cape Town on the hand of the Lord.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And while we were there, so many different individual little miracles just kept happening. And you said it to me, and we say it now all the time, that our life is just not normal.
But it should not be normal.
There you go. It shouldn't be.
What is normal? What is normal? Like this life, when you are surrendered, you know, to the Lord, it shouldn't be normal. It should be, because it's a life of walking by faith and trusting. And so that's not normal. That's adventurous. And so I always like to look at it as my whole journey. You had me go back and look at the past 20 years and how lost and how broken I was. This has been one big adventure. And there are twists and turns in the adventure, that there's dips and things that I'm like, okay, I didn't like that. But there's always things that it always turns back around, and you're always growing and learning. So it's a beautiful adventure.
And I was talking to another friend of ours last night, and we were talking about those seasons where so many things are happening. You're like, okay, God, I hear you, but what is you saying though? I hear you saying something, but it's not quite computing. And then you get into that season when it all does start to compute. And you're like, that was it. I get it. I'm okay. I was patient. I was listening. It was hard. It was difficult, but I knew that you had me. And I think you do a great job of being an example, because I know you hate the word influencer. If anybody follows Jennifer, like, she hates it. She just like, I'm just not an influencer. Well, you are. And it's not what you set out to be. It's not a goal of yours, but here we are.
Here we are. Here we are.
You're influencing the people.
Yeah.
But it's good. You are one of the good pockets of social media. How people say, social media just better. You'll see people like, I hate social media. Every time I get on here, it's just mess. And I'm like, I don't know who y'all follow, but I follow people like you. These are my friends. And I get on social media and have people reminding me to slow down, reminding me to not live in the hustle, reminding me to pull out my Bible and actually study God's word for myself. Like, to run my business with integrity. That's what I see. So you have to make sure you are connected to the right people. And you are one of those nice, good, safe pockets of social media, but I say safe still in a real way, like not about to sugarcoat it for you, the gospel or just real life. Like Jennifer is going to be, you need to really get into this word for yourself. You also need to protest this foolishness that's happening out in these streets. So we're not going to sugarcoat.
God, man. All the way to God. I want my social media, that aspect of who I am, to be an oasis when you come there and you look at it, where it's just like, I feel safe, I feel encouraged, empowered even, and have peace.
Ooh, peace. Okay, so I have two more things before we wrap up. One, and you probably don't have an answer for this, but I'm going to just come for it. And you're going to be like, I'm expecting this. Okay, so I mentioned that we went to Cape Town. I've traveled many places with Jennifer, and she hosted an amazing changemaker retreat a couple of years ago. Took a group of women who were just changemaker agents in their own communities. We were from all over the country, and a lot of us had never met in person, had never heard of each other, nothing, and decided, hey, let's fly across the world with each other, and met up and had a wonderful time. And I know you're wanting to do that again. And then like a pandemic had happened.
The whole thing. And we were headed to Morocco.
It was Morocco. And we couldn't go anywhere. And as we slowly start to, try to get some sense of normalcy back. So are there any future plans to at least, discuss, like, are you going to try to strike that back up? And, what is your vision for changemaker retreats in the future? And start there. Start with the changemaker retreats.
So it is something that I want to strike back up. That's just, and I just want to encourage people with this too. There's times that God has you put a vision on hold, but that doesn't mean that the vision is gone. And so using wisdom, the vision is on hold right now, because I'm a firm believer of loving people well through protecting them. And with this Miss Delta out and all of that, I just want to be mindful. So the Changemaker Retreat isn't going anywhere. The vision for it is to continue to expose women, changemaker women, to each other, and also the African diaspora. I have a passion for just bringing women to the motherland. And so that will happen again. I don't have a date for it yet, because just kind of, we're in very weird times, uncertain times. I have speaking engagements that are getting canceled and left and right, and it's still happening. We're not 100% in the clear to have a group, but it's happening soon, and prayerfully, at least by 2022. That would be awesome, maybe around this time, 2022, but we'll see what God does.
And I'm going to put a link to both of our highlights, our Instagram highlights from the trips. So if anybody listening or watching wants to go see what that was like, just get a taste, because it was so much, but just a little taste. It was such a good time. But I wanted to carry that conversation, the Changemaker retreats, over into, okay, we're waiting on that. But while we're waiting, something that I really think would benefit anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, is soul circles.
Yes.
So Soul Circles is this amazing ministry that Jennifer has. And I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about the purpose of Soul Circles and how people can just get connected with that aspect of what you do, because that's just a daily, to me, like soul giving ministry.
Yeah. So Soul Circles is a ministry I started back in 2018. And the whole purpose is to gather women together to study the scriptures inductively. Inductive Bible study is an investigative approach to studying the scriptures. Mm-hmm. And so we teach women how to study the Bible inductively, but not just for mere information, but for transformation, because we believe that the word of God transforms us from the inside out. Soul Circles is an online community right now. We also do events in person. However, again, Miss Delta. So we'll get back to doing our in-person.
Those are so fun. The in-person ones are so fun.
I know. And so we are getting back to doing that in the near future. But the online community has been such a sweet respite for a lot of women. And we've been able to have women join from all over the globe, even as far as France and South Africa, that are in the Soul Circles community, and we study weekly together. So right now we're in the book of Philemon, and we are studying that together and growing. We also hear from various theologian and women Bible teachers on a monthly basis with something that we call Soul Food Sunday. And so that is Soul Circles.
Jennifer, I have loved this. This has been good. Before we close out, I just want you to, if there's anything you have coming up or something that, how can everybody get in touch with you, basically? So like, give us the things. How can we connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me via my website, jenniferlucytyler.com, that Miss Ashley here designed.
Girl.
And look, she designs all my stuff, but you can also find me on Instagram at Jennifer Lucy Tyler, at Twitter, Jen Lucy Tyler, and at Soul Circles. If you want to connect with Soul Circles, you can simply go to soulcirclesstudygroup.com, or you can, and that's how you get plugged into our community, or you can go and find us on Instagram at Soul Circles Events.
And that is, I will have all that linked in the bottom. So I wanted her to say it all, but if you missed something, go ahead and look through the notes in the bottom, and I'll have everything linked. And if by the time this comes out, you have an event or something coming up or the next study or something, literally Soul Circles is something that you could literally click on and join and get connected with today. So get off the podcast and go click the Soul Circles link. Then you can look at everything else. Go click the Soul Circles link. That is my heart for you right now. And if you have a business that you're trying to help either get it, you're trying to get it formulated. What you say? Yeah, like you mentioned it in the very beginning.
Yes.
See, look, she got so much stuff going on. She like you tell me what I do.
missionconsultinghub.com. And again, Ashley designed that as well. So
Mission Consulting Hub, if you go to the website, so like, let's just say if you're listening to this and you are a business owner, not saying you don't have to have and that's what I want to make clear. Serving the servant leader does not mean you have to have a faith-based business.
Right.
You, as a person of faith, running a business on the foundations of your faith makes it a faith-based business. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It doesn't have to have Jesus splattered across,
what's the tweet and the meme they were saying, all the over Jesus-y names for businesses, like, Planted by the River Florist.
Yeah, it's not it's not that. As a matter of fact, I would suggest that you don't do that. Okay.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. But it's about, serving a servant leader. And so however you are serving people, we can come alongside you.
And even if you just have an idea, you're like, I just have an idea and I don't have any type of a business structure at all, please help. Like Mission Consulting Hub can help you with that too. So like Jennifer has a wonderful team of women behind her, helping her. Like we're being her Aaron while she's being somebody else's Aaron. And it's just a beautiful thing to witness and be a part of. So all those will be
team of Black and Latina women. Can I just say that? Like
women of color out here doing running a whole agency.
Yes.
I even when we're all on meetings, I love it. I'm like, look at all the different hues of melanin happening on this meeting. And everybody's saying wonderful business things very casually, which I love. It's like, oh yeah, and then we got this and this and this. And at the end, I'll be like, did we realize what we just said? Like, because it's God, like I say, God will move in a way that he can only get the credit because I don't even have the capacity to make these types of things happen.
Yeah.
So absolutely beautiful. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Everyone else, please remember to check out the description and we will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.